Hello everyone, my name is DakHazard, and welcome to Warframe's update number 11. Now this is a massive update. They did a huge overhaul on a lot of things, mainly the damage, and that is what I'm going to be covering today. I'll go over some of the other stuff later on, like new weapons, obviously this new Warframe, which looks badass. Like got the almost like the Two-Face type of deal going on, besides like robotic, but and this side's like infested. But we're not here about that. So if you look down here in this this corner right here, you can see there's no longer a damage stat. It is impact, puncture, slash, and your elemental damage. So if I go in here, as you can see, I have my cryo rounds on, and that is where the cold damage comes from. See right here, cold damage. As for the other ones, it's basically the same stuff that's always been in the game. They just kind of split it up and then they basically made it more complicated for whatever stupid reason. Because it seems, I call it stupid because it seems to have broken a couple guns. I hope they fix it. They probably will. Because the update just came out today, so you know there's gonna be bugs. Imagine that. Alright, so onto it. So now instead of armor piercing damage, you now have the puncture damage. That is even evident in piercing hit, other things. So now I have plus 30 puncture damage, which is interesting that they went for that. If I go back over here, impact damage, I'm not entirely sure what that is, but I'm pretty sure that's just like your basic damage. You know, like the original damage, like it just hits them, bam. Kinetic force, you know, to do the rest. And then slash damage is melee style damage, but obviously some guns can have it on them, like the one of the bows, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Despair has it. Not Despair, Dread. Where's Dread? Yeah, Dread. Yeah, so Dread has slash damage. So slash damage is the one that's good against unarmored enemies. You know, so you get your squishy targets like the Corpus Crewman and you know the stupid ass the stupid infested that run up to you and explode, the suicide units, stuff like that. It has no armor on it, so it'll just cut through. That's slash damage. And now the other thing that they added, instead of just having, you know, like the, you know, for your elementals, you had fire, ice, and electricity. So now instead of just that, they now made it so that you can mix them. There are new things, which is very strange. So I'm gonna go over here, name. So if I put in cryo rounds here, right? So I got my cryo rounds. Then I put in Hellfire, say apply. It gives me blast damage, which is completely different. Obviously, it is fire. It's not fire and it's not ice. It is a brand new one. It is not. It doesn't have any any kind of like similarities to the other two. It is a brand spanking new one, and there are all sorts of different combinations, and I do not know them all, but if you'll bear with me. God, I hate how it defaults to polarity now. They need to fix that too, because that pisses me off. But yeah, so I need to go, you know, go down to Stormbringer. So if I have Stormbringer and fire, I get radiation. I don't even know. That's it. It sounds cool, but you know, stuff like that. So now you can basically like mix and match them. You know, experiment. I'm not going to go through all of them because that's just me wasting your time. But it's just very strange why they did this. I'm not entirely sure why, and it's almost like they made it super convoluted for no apparent reason, and it's it's extremely confusing to someone like that isn't into stats. Like I love stats, honestly. So like this is my jam right here. You know, you got the numbers, you got all sorts of different status things, status conditions, all sorts of fun stuff. Like that's my stuff, and I understand that most people don't care for it. You know, they have a gun, it shoots bullets, it kills things. End of story. You know, if a gun does higher damage than the other one, they're going to use the higher damage one. I understand, but to help anyone that is confused by it, so I'm going to try to explain this. And so the last thing, other than all that other crap I just said, that was completely useless. There now is a status. That's what I was saying, the status effects. Instead of now your fire and your ice basically making it so, they always hit. Now it has a percentage to hit. You know, when you put cryo rounds on, right? So yeah, I do have cryo rounds. So you put cryo rounds on in the old version, and whenever you hit an enemy, it would slow them. Now, instead of doing that 100% of the time, it now has a percentage. So now it does it 10% of the time. So every bullet that you hit now has a 10% chance to proc. Proc is a RPG term. Don't worry about it. It just means it has a chance to happen. That's all it means. So the slash damage and the blast damage that I have right now, I imagine the blast is from the Hellfire and the cryo rounds. So now the blast damage has a chance to proc. It'll do damage, so it'll do this damage, which is a ton of damage actually. This thing's kind of beastly. I forgot how much I love the flux rifle. But so it does the damage, but now all these extra elementals now have a special type of damage. Now I have the list right here in front of me. I'm going to Alt-Tab to of all sorts of stuff that when it procs, what it does. So fire damage, just base fire. So fire damage, you get fire damage over time. So it has a 10%, or this gun at least, has a 10% chance to proc and do fire damage over time. Cold is slowing down, as it was before. Electric is now chain electricity damage, so it jumps from the enemy that you hit to other enemies around him. And then Toxin, which is kind of new, but kind of isn't. It's I don't think there's any mods for it, but that's a totally different, whole different thing. But obviously Toxin does poison damage over time. But now with the new combinations, it has Blast, which is stun, Gas, I don't know what gas is, which is poison in area. Obviously that must be poison in like fire or something. Then Radiation, as we saw, which is confusion. Apparently that makes the enemies suck at shooting, I guess. Then there's a magnetic one that reduces shields. Viral, which is sickened. I don't know what sickened versus poison damage is. And then there's corrosive, which is armor damage. I don't know all the makeups to these, but that's the gist of it. Which is very, very cool that they did this, but like did they really have to overhaul the entire friggin' damage system just to do this? Really? Really? I'm having a little bit of a hard time, comprehending that. But whatever, that's what they wanted to do. They are the devs after all. So at the end of the day, it is their ultimate decision. But so now instead of, actually I'm not sure what it's instead of, but it now has, let's see if I can find it. One of the rifle aptitude. I don't know what this used to be. It's plus 5% status chance. So now when you put this on, it increases your proc rate to get special abilities off of your elemental mods, which is cool. Which is very cool. Oh, I think it used to be whatever the stun was. Thunderclap? Yeah. I'm pretty sure they did away with Thunderclap, because now that's Blast's proc, is to stun. So they did away with that, and obviously if you had any, like I obviously had one, then it gets turned into rifle aptitude. And I imagine that it's for everything. So it's for all the guns. So yeah, you're gonna have to sift through your mods to find new stuff like that. So on top of that, here I'll go back to standard gun, not a flux rifle, right here. So now we have, so with the impact, the puncture, and the slash, those all also have procs. So basically, as many things as you can pack onto this, or pack onto your gun, like different elemental mods, some of them might not even mix, you know? So, actually, no, they probably all mix. But whatever. You just want to pack on as many as you can so that every time it procs, or so you have more things that have the chance to proc. If that makes any sense. But I'm going to go back to the post right here that they put up. And so impact has a chance to knock back, knock them on their ass. Puncture has a chance of weakening the target. Weakening the target. Wow, I cannot speak right now. And that reduces their overall damage output. And then slash has a bleed effect, which health is reduced over time and healing is blocked. So, they bleed out, as you might imagine. So all the things are very cool. So with these standard guns, the Boltor isn't really standard. The standard guns, it already has 3 things that can proc on it. This one actually has a 5%, which is lower than the other one. So you probably don't want to bump this up. You'd probably go for the higher ones, as you might imagine. And the other thing is, I'm not sure if this ties into crit, or if crit is just still its own separate beast. Like, I'm not sure if your procs can crit. I don't even know if your, separate elemental damage can crit. I have no idea. So, that's a whole nother can of worms that I really hope they didn't go into, because if it is, that's a lot of number crunching. Ugh, damn. A lot of number crunching I don't want to do to, min-max. But regardless, that's the basic gist of it. Hopefully I didn't lose you within all the numbers and stat speak. But yep, that's update 11. And I guess I will see you next time. Later.